I've never been known to be very kind to BMW. I think the automaker has lost its way as it relates to what it used to be. Still, the fan base is as fervent as ever, and they're still making cars that are exciting to drive with great power. They're just not making very pretty ones at the moment. Case in point is this car right here. This is the 2024 BMW i7 M70. And man, is it not good looking, but holy hell, is it fast? It's also luxurious, as my daughter is showing, because she just put the, I think, 31-inch screen down in place in theater mode. The passenger seat is forward. She has a place to put her legs up. And then I also love that this doesn't have leather. This has some kind of really nice, really comfortable cloth, almost wool-like material. It just feels great. I really like it. The carpets are thick pile carpets. That's because all of this is adds up to a very, very expensive car. This is an all-electric, top-tier 7 Series, so it's not surprising that it's expensive. But what is surprising is, again, as someone who dumps on BMW a lot, this is one of, if not the, nicest car I've ever driven. And that is from a whole ride and handling to luxury side of it. It's the way it goes down the road is just absolutely excellent. The power delivery is smooth as can be. You can punch it into, in full sport mode if you want, and there is tons of power to be had, but when you're just driving along, I mean, this feels like a Rolls-Royce or a Bentley, which isn't surprising given that BMW, owns Rolls-Royce and they create the cars they create. But just from a comfort level and an on-the-road general driving experience, this thing is absolutely phenomenal. It's quiet inside. The sound system is excellent. Visibility is good, except when there's a giant TV screen blocking your rear view mirror. And then just the handling is shockingly good. This does have rear axle steering to help in low and high speed stuff, but I gotta tell you, my first taste of this came when I was shooting an episode of Head to Head Drag Race. It was the last one we shot before they cut the show, which, sad, but it happens. And that one never got edited, which sucks because it was a really fun, funny episode. We pit this car against a Bentley Flying Spur, and we gave this thing the win. Johnny Lieberman, my co-host, was driving the Flying Spur on the track, and then I was driving this on the track. This was faster around Streets of Willow. Yes, the Bentley is far better looking of a machine, but this out-Bentleyed the Bentley in just terms of driving enjoyment and comfort and luxury. It was wild. We didn't expect it. That's what happened. And that's why it's not as surprising when I tell you the price tag. As tested, this is $192,000. I think these start in the upper 160s, low 170s. Now the i7 can be had for less because there's a rear drive, I think it's called the E50, and then there's a mid-grade tier, so that the base rear drive is like 440 something horsepower, 449 I think. Then there's an X-Drive 60, which is 536 horsepower. This one is 650 horsepower. Low threes, 0 to 60. When you're just driving normally, the torque output is like 748 pound-feet. There's a button to the left side of the steering wheel, a paddle that says boost. If you press that, you now have 811 pound-feet of torque for up to 10 seconds. So this thing is an absolute monster of a machine. With all that power, you're going to expect a dip in range. I think the EPA says 290. Real world, you can get close to that, but you'll probably come in a little bit under because you're going to be fat footing it. It is easy to game the range a bit on the highway, though. If you're going to be climbing a bit, but coming back down, you'll gain plenty back. I drove this to Laguna Seca and back to drive the Hyundai Ioniq 5 for the launch of that one, and I just stopped once to charge it on the way up. It only handles like 120 plus kilowatts as its fastest charging speed, which is a bit of a bummer. I wish it was, 170 to 200. But still, I was only sitting at that charger for like 30 minutes to get enough juice to get to the hotel. So it can handle that decently enough. But just the driving experience of this is excellent. The brakes feel good. The handling is far better than it has any right to be in a vehicle like this. And then just the luxury of it all is this is a ridiculous vehicle. The sounds it makes were designed by Hans Zimmer. I mean, that's absurd. Now, it is too much tech inside here. Like if you open up the menu where all the apps are, there's like 9 million different apps for this thing. It's easier to just manage what you need to manage during using CarPlay. And then the other thing I don't like is that if I use the BMW nav to plan a route, it isn't smart enough to tell me, unless I'm doing this wrong. There could be a setting I didn't select, but it should just do it automatically because it's an electric. Like Porsche is excellent at this. When you put a route in the nav, it should give you charging stop options along the route based on your state of charge and how long you want to stop at these spots. You can look along the route to see where chargers are, but you have to like be looking at the screen to do that after you've ended. It should just pop up and give you a few options like, all right, your first stop should be here because we're going here, or you could skip that one, go to the next one, and then you won't have to stop again. You know, the Porsche setup is really smart about that. I was a bit shocked that I had to like dive through menus to figure out where I was going to be charging along the way. And if you've driven some of the corridors in California between Southern and Central, you have a good idea of where you're going to stop, but still, like for a first timer buying this car, spending this much money, if it's their first EV, that's not a great way to make them happy about owning an EV. So those are the two big downsides. The price is a big downside, but if you consider what this is, a flagship level electric vehicle for BMW, it's not unsurprising that it's $192,000. And it feels like a Rolls-Royce without the Rolls-Royce badges. It is that nice of a vehicle. I really, really like it. And I know I dump on BMW a lot. And no, on the outside, this is not a good looking car. You know, the rear 3/4 isn't bad. You got that classic 7 Series length, but the face of this thing is a joke. And I think BMW knows it, and I think we're gonna get reworked design language in the not too distant future here for a lot of vehicles in the lineup. But just from a general driving it and enjoying it standpoint, it made the drive to and from Laguna Seca an absolute breeze. It's around town, it is an absolutely lovely, lovely machine. If you have the money and you are looking at top flight electric vehicles, you know, you can pit this against a Lucid. Unless you want just truly world crushing power, then you got to go for the top flight Lucids. But if we're just running in the middle of the pack, this is just a fantastic, fantastic car. It is way more engaging and exciting to drive than the Mercedes offerings at this level. EQS is just, that's not a pretty car either, and it drives better than you would think, but this even exceeds that. And I think this is nicer inside as well. This is just a wonderful, wonderful car. How you doing back there? Is it comfortable? Poop, great. It's an 8-year-old.